Stay calm and let the universe deliver what you deserve. This isn't just a soothing phrase. It's a compass for those who are tired of chasing, tired of trying to control everything, only to feel more lost. In life, effort alone doesn't guarantee peace. We've all seen people who work hard yet constantly battle chaos inside. The truth is, what you receive isn't always about how much you do, but how aligned you are with what you truly believe you deserve. When you're anxious, you're out of rhythm with life. But when you're calm, truly calm, your energy becomes magnetic. You no longer push things away through desperation. Instead, you create space for the right things to come in, quietly, steadily, in perfect time. This video isn't about doing more, it's about being more present, more trusting, more in tune. Let it guide you back to the stillness within you and come back to it whenever you feel overwhelmed or tempted to force outcomes. Listening once won't be enough. Let this be a practice, a daily return to yourself. And if this message resonates with you, please share it with someone you care about. Sometimes, a small shift in perspective can change the course of a life. Subscribe if you want more content that speaks to the quiet power inside you. And in the comments, tell me, when did you finally let go? And what happened after that? Let's remind each other, calm is not giving up. It's calling in what's meant for you. 1. The universe responds to calm, not chaos. Have you ever seen an intersection during rush hour when the traffic lights suddenly go out? Everyone starts honking, edging forward, trying to be first. But the more impatient each driver becomes, the worse the gridlock gets. No one moves. Then, a single traffic officer steps into the chaos. He doesn't shout, doesn't flail. He simply raises one hand calmly, and suddenly everything starts to flow. Not because he exerted force, but because his presence was steady. His stillness imposed order. His calm was the signal everyone unconsciously needed. Life often mirrors this exact scene. The more we try to control outcomes by reacting, rushing, and forcing, the more entangled we become in confusion and resistance. The universe doesn't respond to noise, to desperation, or to frantic energy. It responds to clarity. It responds to the vibration we emit, and that vibration is strongest when it's grounded in calmness. When we operate from inner peace, we stop repelling the very things we're trying to attract. We shift our energy from scarcity to alignment, from doubt to trust. That shift changes everything. Most people think manifestation is about setting goals, working harder, or speaking affirmations. But that's only a small piece of the puzzle. The deeper truth is this: the energy behind your actions speaks louder than the actions themselves. If you're taking steps toward your dreams with anxiety in your chest and tension in your thoughts, you're not really in flow. You're transmitting a signal of inner conflict, and the universe responds by matching you with situations that feel heavy, delayed, or unclear. Calmness isn't inaction. It's intentional stillness. It's choosing not to react to every doubt, every fear, every external distraction. When you are calm, you see more. You hear more. You start to notice subtle cues, hidden opportunities, unexpected solutions, all of which were invisible when you were too busy overthinking. Calmness is a manifestation strategy in itself, not because it does the work for you, but because it keeps you in sync with what already wants to come your way. The law of attraction doesn't just respond to vision boards or rituals, it responds to your state of being. If your state is chaotic, if you're rushing the process, checking the results every 5 minutes, constantly doubting whether it's working, then you're blocking the very flow you're hoping to receive from. But when you breathe, slow down, trust that the right people and events are aligning even if you can't see them yet, you start vibrating with the calm certainty of someone who knows they are supported. And that vibration is magnetic. Think of your mind like a body of water. When it's disturbed, rippled with thoughts and urgency, you can't see beneath the surface. But when it's still, what lies at the bottom becomes visible. That clarity, that sense of direction, comes not from more thinking, but from less noise. When you cultivate calmness, you create the ideal environment for insight, for attraction, for intuitive action. The universe can only deliver what you are truly ready to hold. And calmness is the sign that you're ready. Sometimes, the reason your desire hasn't arrived isn't because you're not working hard enough, but because you're still trying too hard to control how and when it shows up. You're still gripping the outcome, still wrapped in resistance, still operating from fear instead of faith. Let that go. Let the energy settle. Let yourself relax into the knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you, and what isn't will only drain you while it stays. When you move through life with calmness, you stop chasing and start attracting. You shift from a mindset of "I need to make it happen" to "I trust that it's happening." That shift is powerful. It makes your energy cleaner, more focused, and more open to receive. You don't have to force your way through every door. Sometimes being still is how you let the door swing open for you. So today, instead of asking, "What should I do next?" try asking, "How can I return to calm?" Because from that place, the universe doesn't need to be convinced. It simply responds. Calmness is not weakness. It's clarity. It's self-trust. It's alignment. And when you're aligned, life moves with you, not against you. 2. You block what you try to control. A friend of mine is a quiet gardener, the kind of person who finds meaning in silence and soil. One day over coffee, he said something I never forgot. "The plants I check on every day, the ones I overwater and dig up to see if the roots are growing, they're the ones that stay small. But the ones I leave alone, tend to gently, give space and light, those are the ones that stretch tall and bloom." He looked up and added, "Overcaring is often just fear disguised as love." That hit deeper than I expected. And it made me reflect on how often we smother what we're trying to help, how often we block what we want most, just because we can't stop hovering over it, trying to control every piece. In life, the same rule applies. The more tightly we grip the outcome, the more we choke the possibility of growth. When we try to manipulate every detail, the timing, the reactions, the path, we introduce friction where there should be flow. Control creates resistance. You tense up, and so does everything around you. You stop listening, you stop seeing clearly. The energy becomes rigid. And like the root that's disturbed too often, progress stalls, even in the presence of care. But when you soften your hold, when you trust the process and allow things to evolve without your constant interference, something powerful happens. You become a collaborator with the universe instead of a dictator of its timeline. You give room for things to become what they are meant to be, not what you're forcing them to be. Letting go isn't the same as giving up. It's a shift in posture, from control to alignment. When you force, you push against the current. When you trust, you flow with it. The irony is, the more desperately you try to hold on to a person, a plan, or an idea, the more likely it is to slip away. You send out a vibration of lack, of fear, of disbelief, and the universe doesn't translate that as dedication. It hears anxiety. It hears, "I don't trust this to happen unless I'm in charge." And in response, it mirrors that same uncertainty right back at you. But when you ease your grip, something shifts. You move from anxiety to calm manifestation. You radiate the quiet confidence of someone who knows that the right things never require force to stay. You replace control with clarity and panic with patience. Control is often just fear that things won't happen the way we hope. But what if they happened in a way better than you imagined? If only you'd stop standing in the way. People who master the art of letting go aren't passive. They're focused. They know what they want, but they no longer try to micromanage the how. They've learned that trust is a stronger force than control, not weaker, stronger. Just like a gardener knows when to step back and let the soil work its silent magic, we must also learn when our involvement becomes interference. When we let go, we create a calm, fertile space for blessings to land, a space that control never allows. In a world obsessed with outcomes, it's radical to choose presence. But it's in that presence that life begins to move in unexpected, intelligent ways. And the best part? Letting go gives you back your peace. You no longer chase, overthink, or exhaust yourself trying to time everything perfectly. You live, you breathe, you show up, and you trust that the rest is being handled. Because it is, that's not a fantasy. It's a different frequency. And when you operate from that frequency, you stop blocking what was always meant to find you. So loosen the grip. You don't have to fix every detail. You just have to stop standing between what you asked for and the space it needs to arrive. Let go, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Because some things only bloom when you stop hovering. And the things that are truly meant for you, they never need to be chased. just welcomed. 3. Calmness is not weakness, it's alignment. Imagine a suspension bridge stretched across a steep mountain pass. The wind is relentless, the drop beneath it terrifying, yet the bridge holds. It sways but never breaks. Why? Because it's built with precise tension, not too loose to collapse, not too tight to snap. That perfect calibration is what allows it to stand firm in the middle of chaos. Calmness in life works the same way. It is not the absence of pressure or emotion. It is the result of inner calibration, where your mind and emotions are aligned just enough to bend without breaking. When we speak of calmness, we often confuse it with being passive or detached. But calmness is not the silence of indifference. It is the silence of strength. It's the ability to be surrounded by noise and still choose your response. It's not that calm people don't feel, it's that they don't let their feelings drag them out of alignment. In a world where everything demands a reaction, staying grounded is a rare and powerful form of self-mastery. Calmness allows you to respond, not react. It slows time down just enough for wisdom to enter the moment. And in that pause, you regain control, not of the situation, but of yourself. People often think intensity equals passion, but passion without direction burns out. Calmness doesn't kill your drive, it channels it. It helps you direct your focus with precision rather than scattering your energy across every trigger. When you're calm, you act from clarity, not chaos. You don't chase, you don't shout, you don't prove. You move in silence, and in that silence, your actions speak for you. Calm energy is magnetic because it signals something most people lack, a sense of inner control. It tells the world, I'm not here to compete with your noise, I'm anchored in my own clarity. And the world listens differently when you speak from that place. Calmness is a reflection of deep self-trust. It means you no longer need to over-explain, over-defend, or overreact. You are no longer operating from anxiety or fear. You're not trying to force outcomes. You're aligned with the belief that what is meant for you will come, and what isn't will leave without needing to be chased. In this state of alignment, you conserve energy. You no longer exhaust yourself emotionally because you've learned to manage what rises within you. You stop feeding the noise of overthinking, conflict, or drama. You learn to pause, breathe, and return to your center. That doesn't make you dull. It makes you effective. People notice. They might not say it, but they feel it. Your calmness becomes your power, your presence becomes your message, and your choices start to reflect a level of discernment that chaos can never produce. Most importantly, calmness allows you to trust the process. You begin to understand that the outcomes you want don't respond to pressure. They respond to alignment. That clarity, that energetic steadiness, tells the universe you're ready to receive. Not because you've earned it through stress, but because you've created the space for it to arrive. Calmness is not an excuse to do nothing. It's the mindset from which you can do everything better. You work, but you don't obsess. You strive, but you don't rush. You desire, but you don't beg. And in that space between effort and surrender, life begins to unfold in surprising, even miraculous ways. When storms hit, calmness becomes your anchor. When distractions call, calmness keeps you focused. When fear whispers worst-case scenarios, calmness replies with grounded truth. You are still here. You are still whole. You are still on your way. Calmness is not weakness. It's the strength to stay in alignment when everything around you tries to pull you out of it. And in that alignment, you don't just survive the storm. You walk through it with quiet power. 4. Let go of the how. Hold on to the faith. When you send a letter through the post office, you don't stand at the mailbox watching, demanding to see how it moves through each step of the system. You simply write the address clearly, place the stamp, drop it off, and trust it will arrive. So why is it so hard to offer the same trust to life? Why do we insist on knowing every twist and turn before we allow ourselves to relax? Somewhere along the way, we were taught that faith alone isn't enough, that without control, things fall apart. But in reality, the constant obsession with how it will happen, how long it will take, how it will come together, is what disconnects us from the very path we're meant to walk. Life is not a straight line you draw with precision. It's a river that bends and carves its way forward in ways we can't always predict. The more you try to map every bend, the more anxious you become when the current shifts. and the current always shifts. The truth is, you don't need to know the entire route. You just need to take the next honest step. Trusting the process doesn't mean sitting back and waiting passively. It means doing your part, putting your energy into what you can control, and then releasing the urge to interfere with what you can't. It's believing that if you move with calm intention, the rest will align in ways far beyond what your mind can plan. The universe is not ignoring your effort, but it doesn't follow your calendar. It responds to alignment, not urgency. The more you ask when or how, the more you shrink your presence in the now. And it's in the now where your power actually lives. It's in the now where clarity forms and decisions matter. People who truly trust the flow of life often seem oddly calm. Not because they know the outcome, but because they've stopped needing to. They've learned that inner peace is not found in overanalysis. It's found in surrender, the quiet, grounded kind. When you stop trying to force the timeline, you begin to notice things that were hidden before. Subtle signs, unexpected help, timely connections. You start to realize that what felt like a delay was actually a redirection, that what felt like stillness was preparation. You see that the universe has its own kind of intelligence, one that favors alignment over anxiety, patience over panic, and calm persistence over desperate pushing. Holding on to the faith means remembering that just because you can't see the outcome doesn't mean it isn't already unfolding. Some of the best things in life arrive through back doors you never expected. But you won't be able to recognize them if you're too busy staring at the front gate, waiting for your idea of success to walk in on schedule. Letting go of the how is not giving up your dream. It's releasing the burden of micromanaging its every detail. It's about stepping into the quiet belief that if you stay consistent, clear, and calm, what is meant for you will recognize you and move toward you without resistance. You don't have to explain your dream to everyone. You don't have to convince anyone why you trust your path. That kind of calm faith speaks louder than explanation. It radiates, it creates space, and in that space, manifestation happens. Faith isn't blind, it's anchored in a deeper truth that things are always moving, even when you can't yet see them move. It's the kind of faith that says, I will show up today and let life handle the timing. That's not laziness, that's alignment. And in alignment, the right things happen at the right time without force. So breathe, send your letter. Let go of the how. Trust that the same force that keeps the tides rising, the seasons changing, and the stars in motion, that same intelligence is handling the details of your life. You don't have to outrun uncertainty. You just have to stop trying to overpower it. Let go, not to lose control, but to let something wiser take over. Let that be enough. Let that be peace. 5. What you believe, you attract. I once met an older man at a quiet dinner gathering. He didn't wear anything flashy. He barely spoke. But something about his presence drew people in. Others naturally sat beside him, asked for his thoughts, or simply listened when he said a few words. It wasn't charisma in the conventional sense. It was something deeper, a grounded stillness, a kind of invisible self-respect. Later that evening, I realized what made him magnetic wasn't wealth or status. It was that he carried himself as someone who believed he deserved to be treated well, and the world simply responded in kind. That moment stayed with me because it reminded me of a quiet truth. The energy you hold is more powerful than the words you say. We teach others how to treat us based on how we see ourselves. And whether we realize it or not, the beliefs we carry about our own worth silently shape every interaction, every opportunity, every outcome. You might think that believing in yourself is just a mindset tip or motivational cliche, but it runs much deeper. The universe, or life, or whatever name you give it, doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the vibration behind it. If you carry a sense of doubt, a belief that good things only happen to others, or that you're never quite enough, you emit a signal of lack, and that signal becomes a filter. You begin to interpret rejection as proof, miss opportunities because you don't feel ready, or avoid risks because part of you doesn't believe you're worthy of success. The outer world reflects back the inner script, but the same law works in your favor the moment you shift. When you walk into a room with quiet certainty, not arrogance but calm belief, people notice. When you pursue a goal not from desperation, But from a place of inner sufficiency, doors begin to open. And when you expect better, not because you demand it, but because you trust you're aligned with it, better begins to find its way to you. Belief is not just an internal idea, it's a magnet for reality. And it's one of the most overlooked parts of manifestation. People often ask, why am I not attracting what I want? The better question might be, what do I believe I deserve? Because if your belief system is rooted in unworthiness, if you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop or for someone to validate your value, you'll keep repelling what's already on its way. But when you shift that story, even slightly, the ripple effect is real. You begin to take different actions, speak with more clarity, say no to what drains you, and yes to what matches your true energy. These shifts change your trajectory. This doesn't mean you fake confidence or pretend to have it all together. It means you build your sense of self-worth from the inside, not from external praise or short-term wins. That kind of belief doesn't scream. It doesn't need to. It simply radiates a steady, peaceful energy that life responds to. You're no longer chasing, you're aligning. You're not begging the world to see your value. You're showing up already knowing it's there. And that knowing draws in experiences, people, and paths that echo your vibration. There's a reason the calmest people often seem the most powerful. They don't have to push their way into spaces. They carry an energy that creates space around them. That energy starts with belief. The belief that you deserve abundance without guilt. You can attract peace without sacrificing yourself, that you can pursue success without needing to prove anything to anyone. What you believe, you attract. And the more your beliefs align with your highest self, not your fears, not your insecurities, the more the universe shifts to meet you there. This is not magic, it's energy, and energy doesn't lie. So if you want to change what's coming toward you, start by changing what's radiating from you. Cultivate a belief that you are enough right now, not when you achieve more. Walk into your day with that quiet conviction, not to impress, but because you've finally remembered what's always been true. You attract not what you beg for, but what you believe you already carry. That belief, lived and felt deeply, becomes your new baseline. And from there, life can finally begin to rise to meet you. 6. Silence is a sacred strategy. When a team is winning, they don't need to shout about it. They hold the ball, stay composed, and execute every move with intention. The score speaks for them. The best teams don't waste energy proving their dominance. They express it through precision, timing, and restraint. It's a lesson we can carry into life. The more grounded your position, the less noise you need to make. Silence, when intentional, is not a gap in action. It's a strategic space where power gathers. In a world that equates volume with influence, choosing silence feels almost radical. But it is often the most powerful decision you can make. Silence doesn't mean passivity. It's a conscious refusal to participate in the noise. It's the awareness that not everything deserves a response, not every confrontation needs your presence, and not every opinion needs to be defended. The more you grow, the more you realize how much energy is lost through needless explanations. The urge to respond to every criticism, to justify every step, to correct every misconception, all of it stems from insecurity. But when you know who you are, you no longer need to convince anyone. You begin to trust that truth doesn't need decoration. It just needs presence. And the more still you are in that truth, the louder your silence becomes. Silence is not weakness, it is control. It is the ability to remain grounded in the face of provocation, to choose poise over pride. It's not about retreating, it's about mastering your energy. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you protect your emotional reserves. You maintain clarity. You stop being pulled into chaos that was never yours to carry. There's a reason the most dangerous moves are made quietly. Power that moves without noise is harder to anticipate, harder to counter. When your silence is intentional, it becomes impossible to ignore. In the philosophy of calm manifestation, silence is a signal. It tells the universe, I no longer need to chase validation. I am aligned. It tells others, I'm no longer moved by your projection. I move from within. This doesn't mean suppressing your voice. It means understanding its value. When you speak less, each word becomes more meaningful. When you act without announcing your intentions, your results carry more weight. Silence protects you from premature exposure and from external energies that aren't aligned with your purpose. It gives your intuition room to breathe, and in that space, clarity rises. In practice, silence is how you take back control in situations where your emotions could easily be hijacked. It's how you diffuse conflict without stepping into it. It's how you respond with precision, not from impulse. In heated conversations, walking away quietly can be more powerful than winning the argument. In your goals, working silently can generate more momentum than shouting your plans. There's power in moving without letting the world weigh in too early. Too often, we leak our energy through oversharing. We announce dreams before they're strong enough to withstand doubt. We explain plans to people who aren't capable of understanding them. We seek approval instead of practicing alignment. The discipline of silence teaches you that some things are too sacred for display, that not every truth needs to be proven, that the deepest form of power is stillness, the kind that doesn't panic, doesn't scramble, and doesn't fear being misunderstood. When you become someone who can sit in silence without discomfort, you become someone who cannot be easily manipulated. Your calmness becomes a shield. Your restraint becomes your strength. You listen more, observe more, and understand more. And in return, you act from wisdom, not noise. You don't need to make noise to be respected. You don't need to speak often to be understood. You don't need to react to be seen as powerful. Real presence isn't built on visibility. It's built on inner stability. That's what makes silence sacred. It gives you back your space. It trains you to trust your energy more than others' opinions. And most of all, it reminds you that you don't have to raise your voice to raise your impact. Let others chase attention. Let others fill the silence with noise. You just hold your position, quiet, unshaken, unapologetically in control. True manifestation doesn't begin with force, it begins with calm. The more you chase, the more you push what you want further away. But when you stay calm, trust the process, and align your energy with peace and clarity, life begins to respond differently. You stop trying to control every outcome. Instead, you release control to attract more, and that's where the real shift happens. Whether you're learning to let the universe guide you or trying to break free from anxious manifesting, remember this: alignment over anxiety always wins. The energy of calm attracts abundance, not because you're doing less, but because you're doing it from a place of quiet strength. You become magnetic without trying. You become centered without losing momentum. So breathe. Let go. Let life unfold without the noise. If this message spoke to something in you, share your story in the comments below. When did you stop forcing, and what changed? Your story might just help someone else stay calm and trust the universe a little more today. And if you want to keep practicing this kind of quiet alignment, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more insights into building an inner peace law of attraction life.